Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot in Pagan Perspective. This week we're talking about unsupportive households, the Pagan edition. This week's topic comes from Willow RedWitch, and I love your username for one. For two, I'm going to assume that Willow is a she, and I know I really shouldn't assume, especially after the agender topic that we did. So if people can tell me what pronoun to actually use, I would be much appreciative. But anyway, I'm not going to read the entire topic because it is quite extensive on the background story, so you can read it for yourself in the bottom bar. But anywho, Willow says that she is 20 and basically it is her mother's roommate, which I don't know if this is a romantic roommate or if it is just a friend that is a roommate. Her mother and her mother's roommate are both Wiccans. The mother's roommate is a traditional Wiccan and practices a solitary practice. Also, there is Willow's sister, who is 15. So there's a lot of different personalities in this household, and one of the major personalities that is a little bit of a conflict is the mother's roommate. The mother's roommate says that Willow's practice is not true witchcraft, is not true paganism, and therefore she is not practicing it correctly. There was even an instance where the sister was sitting at dinner, mentioned something in passing, and the roommate said, "You shouldn't talk about it, and if you do, then you're not really practicing it." So basically the problem that Willow has now that she's in college is that whenever she comes home, she can't set up an altar. She has supportive friends at college, which I think is fantastic, but she can't set up her altar at home. She can't talk to her mother, which seems to me to be a little bit more open about how Willow practices her faith. But Willow feels that she is not able to express her own faith in her own home because of the friction that is with this roommate. So now I may get a little emotional here and I may get a little angry in this video, so please know that's a justified anger. The way that I see this situation is opinions are like butts. Everybody has one and they all stink except for mine. With that being said, yes, I am being facetious on that one. This roommate of your mother's, whether this is a romantic roommate or whether this is a friend, really has no business telling anybody that their faith is not true, especially if she purports to be a Wiccan. If she is a true traditional Wiccan, then she should be familiar with Gerald Gardner, Doreen Valiente, and Janet and Stuart Farrar, who were very vocal about their Wiccan faith. Now, there is a lot of hush-hush around, you don't talk about your spell work, you don't talk about what's in your Book of Shadows and going into detail about ritual. However, they were still very vocal about what their faith entailed and how they practiced their faith in general, in that general aspect. They just didn't go into great detail about the little minute things such as ritual or spell work. So she seems like she's not really that knowledgeable about what traditional Wicca is. Now, me not being a Wiccan, I actually wish that we still had Annie on the channel, who is a trad Wiccan, and would be able to give more of an insight in traditional Wicca than what I can. However, it seems to me that most traditional Wiccans are not shy about expressing what their faith is in the greater essence, in the greater scope, just not the little minute details of spell work, of what goes on in ritual. That is very much something that is kept secret, and I hold nothing against that. In that essence, it is a very personal thing. But she also says that her mother's roommate is a solitary traditional Wiccan practitioner. However, up until I think it was around the 80s, whenever our good old friend Scott Cunningham came out with Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner, it wasn't really seen as a solitary type practice. It was seen as very much a coven practice. In fact, this book alone got a lot of flack whenever it was first written. A lot of death threats and stuff like that were sent to Scott Cunningham. So if she is traditionally Wiccan, then I kind of find it hard that she is a solitary Wiccan, as the traditional Wiccans, the ones that keep to a Gardner tradition, are usually covened And that's not to say that there are not solitary traditional Wiccan practitioners, but if she is going to the extreme of saying that one tradition is more true than another, then she probably shouldn't be solitary either. Like I said, this is an emotional topic for me with a lot of heated emotions. I'm trying to keep them in check because this type of thing gets under my skin. Whenever I tell people that I'm a Christo-pagan, you have one side that says, well, you can't be Christian and be pagan, and then there's the other side that says you can't be pagan and be Christian. It just doesn't work. But both sides seem to come at Christo-paganism with the same hatred of, hey, you can't be both, which I am living proof of, yes, you can. So basically, whenever somebody is telling you that your faith is not valid, usually I just blow them off. I've gotten comments on videos saying that you can't be pagan, you can't be Christian. I've gotten those comments. I've deleted those comments. I've reported them. I've blocked them. All that stuff. I don't have any energy to spare to the trolls out there. I also went on Facebook and I deleted a lot of people that were just being trolls in life in general, that were posting hatred. Anything that I would post, they would post something to the negative of what I would post. So I've deleted, I think, about 40 some odd people, and there's still some more to come. So I've purposely built that wall in between me and the trolls out there. Now, this is a little different for you because you actually have to live with this troll. And while you can't delete this troll from your life, you can sit her down and say, look, my practice is my practice. It is very personal to me, and you giving your opinion is not welcome in my space. You can make your offhanded comments in your own room behind a closed door saying what you want, and I really don't have time for it. You could do that. You could also, if you want to go the gentler route, sit her down and say, hey, why don't you think my practice is valid? Why should we as pagans be kept in the broom closet? What is there to be secret about? Shouldn't we be spreading the knowledge of people being able to own their faith however they need to? Shouldn't we be spreading the knowledge that we have to others so they actually know that there is a place for them? Just like Gerald Gardner and Doreen Valiente, the Farrars, and many others did in the past. Also, you can ask her what makes her the authority figure on Wicca, especially since she is not the founder of Wicca. That would be Gerald Gardner again, and Doreen Valiente. What makes her the authority figure on Wicca? Is she some sort of high priest out there? Of course not. She's not even in a coven. So what makes her the authority figure, the be-all, end-all authority figure on Wicca? Nothing does. So her thoughts are not valid in your space. That is the way I see it. And if she doesn't take to either one of those approaches, look at it this way. You're 20 and in college, and even though you have to come home at times, either to see your mother or to live there for a period of time, eventually you're still going to get out of that house. So look forward to those times, because you can go to your mother and say, hey, I want to meet up at my place, or I want to meet up at a coffee shop. I want to talk with you about Wicca or my tradition and what it means to me and how I found my faith, but don't bring so-and-so, because all she does is poo-poos on everything that I say. And if your mother sees how hurt it makes you being around this person, she might just surprise you, come out and see you, talk with you one-on-one like you really want her to do. In the end, the point that I really want to drive home with this video is that your faith is valid if you believe it. There's nobody out there that is the arbiter of truth of this is the absolute whenever it comes to religious faith. Your faith is valid for you. It may not be something that I hold true to, but I do respect that you have a truth that is true for you. And I respect the fact that you found what is true for you. A lot of people give up looking, and it seems like you found it, and it's something that really works for you, which I think is fantastic. So even if you don't have the supporters at home, you definitely have a supporter right here on the Pagan Perspective, along with, I'm sure, all of the other hosts. So with that, I send you love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.